let's see how we might talk about how did this indoor-outdoor concept evolve. Mr. Eichler was also not a Californian. He came here from New York at the request of his wife's family during World War II. The family owned a ranch in the area of Petaluma, and they produced butter and eggs, which was requisitioned by the United States Army for the military. And they felt uncomfortable with that, so they asked Joe and his wife, their daughter, to come out here during the war and manage that relationship with the military, which he did. And that was a new venture for him, but he was a very bright guy, and he was able to do so. And after the war was over, Mr. Eichler and his family had been living in what he too thought was a strange house when he first rented it in Atherton. And it was a house that certainly was unfamiliar to them, but after they moved in and got used to it and thought it was not quite so strange, they began to inquire about it and found that it was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. Mr. Eichler, as he would do, he was an intellectual person who pursued avidly his curiosities, and he always wanted to know the background and the evolution of new ideas and concepts that he came in contact with. So after the war, he found that Frank Lloyd Wright lived at that time in Taliesin West, near Phoenix, so he went to meet him. And they found an incredible synchronicity between their personalities. They were both kind of gruff and straightforward people. They liked to get straight to the point. They didn't like to talk around something. Mr. Eichler found in listening to Frank Lloyd Wright talk about the Usonian house, which Frank Lloyd Wright described to him as a very small contemporary house that he had designed to be affordable to the common man, because Frank Lloyd Wright felt that all people were entitled to quality design. Well, this fit perfectly with Mr. Eichler's liberal political ideas. One thing led to another, and Mr. Eichler bought some property, not much, in Palo Alto, a small parcel, and created a cul-de-sac on which were built prototypical Eichler homes. Frank Lloyd Wright didn't design them, but he supervised some architects who did. Ultimately, Mr. Eichler worked with 5 architects primarily. 2 of them were from Los Angeles, Frederick Emmons and Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones, the architect, not the musician. 2 of them were from San Francisco, Anshin and Allen. And one of them was a very young architect working at that time for Anshin and Allen, but soon he went out on his own. His name was Claude Oakland, who had an associate, Kinji Imada. And toward the latter part of Mr. Eichler's career, Claude did more designs for him than anyone else. The value of having a series of architects was tremendous, because using the post and beam concept, they designed their homes so that the lumber would be cut to standard lengths as a marvelous way to reduce construction cost and also speed up the time of construction. But the concepts and the ideas to use this structure were wide, they were varied, and the result is that we know of at least 89 Eichler floor plans that were built in various parts of California over a period of about 14 years. And there was a general supervision of the architectural concepts from Frank Lloyd Wright and his associate Aaron Green. And so they kept everybody on track. But the indoor-outdoor idea evolved as a concept of regional architecture to fit the weather here in California, particularly in Northern California, where we have really a moderate, benign climate. There were some efforts made to transfer this concept to other areas, but Clearly, it's not suitable if there are 6 feet of snow on the ground. It's an impractical sort of thing. Actually, there are many Eichler wannabes. There are similar homes to Eichlers in Sacramento, which are very elegant, and also in Portland. These were built by different companies, but they used some of the concepts. But the indoor-outdoor concept grew in popularity once a few houses were built, and it became so obvious it was a logical way to build a house in Northern California. It became so obvious it was a logical way to build a house in Northern California.